Hello, Internet, and welcome once again to the Always Online podcast, brought to you by MMOBomb.com, your home for all things multiplayer related. It's Friday. That means we're live, twitch.tv/MMOBomb. It's 1 p.m. Eastern, doing the show live, 422, episode 422. Man, there's a lot of episodes. We've got a lot to cover, a lot to get to. We've got chat ready to go with us, including Tark, who still has not gotten all of his... You had to be there for pre-show. Tark's moving from one state to the next state has been a month-long fiasco at this point. It's just an absolute nightmare. He's going to go and find his stuff at a flea market. Oh, joining me to go over all the fun stuff today, Mr. Jason Winter.
You know, I bought a watch last week and it says to Tarkoth. Why did it say that?
Look at this engraving.
Yeah,
cheap,
wonderful. Whatever his real
$4
name
for
is.
it.
Sorry, it's Chris, isn't it? All right? I don't even
Yes,
know.
yeah. Tark's name is Chris.
There we go.
Yeah.
But yeah.
How you doing?
Well, I actually do have something with a name on it. In
You
fact,
do. I see something.
here.
It looks like a card. It looks like
Yeah,
like maybe a Pokemon, maybe,
Does it look
or-
like Pokemon.
or Yu-Gi-Oh.
What do you think? What are those lines there? What do you think those lines are?
The lines. I don't like the. I see like a white triangle kind of shape. It's hard to see.
Last
They're
one's up at the
lightsabers,
game.
man.
On a plaque of
They're
something.
lightsabers. It is in fact a plaque
Lightsabers?
with a card autographed by David Prowse.
Nice.
That I got a long time ago when I was working at Decipher. I don't know. I don't think I bought it. I don't remember. I think they just gave it to me somehow. Because Dave Prowse used to do some stuff with us, some promotions and so on back in the day. So
That is
I wish
very cool.
I wish I would have done this when we actually had a real Star Wars sort of topic to talk about. But I guess we're gonna have one after all, aren't we?
Yeah, SWOTOR was not in the lineup, but our other host making it part of the lineup, Mr. Troy Blackburn, the noob fridge himself. What's up, boss?
I wanna play a quick game, and it's not SWTOR
Okay.
related. I want to read you 2 sentences from a community manager post on a forum, and you
Okay.
tell me which game it is, okay?
Okay.
We are aware of a bug that duplicates
World.
items. There you go. Thank you.
Yeah.
We are aware of a bug. As soon as you said that,
They have
We are aware of a bug, Jason. New World. It's New World.
they have another duplication bug in which they've had to disable wealth transfers as of yesterday, and it's still disabled as of today. Another one.
So
I
was
read that
actually,
this morning, and I was like, man, I've got to still be asleep.
I was actually going to bring up New World a little later in conjunction with something else because I'm beginning to feel how you feel, Troy, about a game, but it's not New World. But so we'll get to that in a little bit as we get started with the news. All right, I mean, we would be remiss, right, if we didn't start off with bigger releases this week, including the reason I like these gentlemen anyway, so I would have had them on anyway, but I just felt, what's up, Windshark? I just felt, these are the guys to talk to. Gentlemen, Guild Wars 2, End of Dragons, out in the wild as of Monday of this week. It's been over a decade since we have set foot in Cantha. That was the big to-do about where we were going. We've got the new masteries, not masteries. What's it called?
yeah, you're right. They're
Is it
master.
master? Okay. I for a minute I thought I got SWOTOR in my head and got confused with the combat styles. We've got the new masteries. You got your mount, your 2-person jobby
Skiff.
thing. Your
Yeah,
skiff.
the mouth. Yeah, the turtle, right?
The turtle mount, yeah. So you've played it all week, off and on. I haven't had a chance to jump into it yet. I did get my code from ArenaNet, so I'm all set up, but I haven't had a chance to jump in yet because I've been researching and playing something for a first look that we'll talk about in a second. So I'm going to defer to you and maybe ask a few questions here as somebody that isn't well-versed in Guild Wars lore and fun. Jason, initial impressions so far, 1 week in. Is it living up to what it needed to retain players? And could it bring back lapsed Guild Wars or Guild Wars 2 or original Guild Wars player simply because of its setting? What do you think?
I think my overall impression of the expansion so far can be summarized with
Oh no, really? Just
they had a bug earlier in the week. I don't know if it's been fixed yet, but they had an issue where they weren't filling maps properly.
okay.
And I thought they fixed it, but now I'm not sure. It's been like 3-4 days, so they should have probably, but it doesn't feel like they did. Because it feels really empty.
Really?
Like, this is not like what I expect when an MMO has an expansion launch. You know how it is. Everyone's
yeah.
in there. Everyone's jammed in.
Yeah, everyone
50
comes
people everywhere
back
you
even
look.
if it's just for a month.
Yeah. 50 people everywhere you look. And in Guild Wars 2 especially, you have, the events are going off and, 20 people are doing each of them or something like that. Especially and in main cities, people are just grouped together and doing stuff and talking, and the chat box is, scrolling like you wouldn't believe. And this doesn't feel that way. And I don't know if it is an actual issue, like, gosh, people are really just not playing it or not buying the expansion or whatever. I don't know if it's still that bug. Or the other part of it I think about is I've only been through in the first 2 zones so far. And the second one is New Kyneg City, which, if you saw my preview earlier, it's basically the entire zone is a giant city.
Right.
Giant, huge metropolis. And I think to myself, when we play the previous expansion, we play Heart of Thorns, which is in a jungle, or you play a Path of Fire, which is all about the desert. If you go out somewhere and you're all alone or something in a desert, that makes sense. If you're all alone out in the jungle, that makes sense. If you're the only player around a city street, that feels kind of weird.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't seem like it should be more populated and more vibrant and so forth.
Windshark in chat saying I've been playing Path of Fire until they fix the expansion. So
okay, so it is still
may
not
be
fixed,
alone.
Okay, so it isn't fixed yet. The whole they've had little patches every like twice a day they have some update. It says we've fixed this or that or the other thing. If it really is still just a bug with them loading maps properly, then I'll forgive it. And I might even take a little bit of a break until they do fix that, because it especially for a game like Guild Wars 2, it doesn't feel right to have
It sounds like it's
so
just
empty.
jarring.
Yeah, it is. Like I said, you go down a city. There've been a few people, but I haven't seen probably more than 5 people on the map at once, like in any location doing stuff together. So,
Troy, I noticed in the camera shot, the viewers couldn't see you, but like you've raised your eyebrows a couple of times at some things Jason was saying. Are you having a little bit of a different experience?
Oh no! As far as that, no. It's definitely, they've got a bug where they tried to compensate and not overload maps and cause lag, because they've got that great mega server technology. Unfortunately, they overcompensated, and it's nearly impossible to complete metas and things like that right now. Now, I know that there are. I say I know. In my opinion, from what I've noticed, I'm a member of several larger guilds just to have people that do like big group meta events and stuff. And there are more people on in chat than there have been in a long time. So I think the players are there. I think the mega servers just aren't doing any favors and making it difficult for everybody to group up, because the majority of people that I see on maps right now are from whatever guild that I'm repping in the moment, which tells me that it's putting me with those folks. But there's a lot of other folks out there who I'm just not seeing.
Gotcha. Now, setting aside that type of issue, how far are we in the story, in the main story version of what's going on in End of Dragons? What are your feelings on some of the new masteries? What are you playing? Let's get into what you've actually touched, and do you like that? Setting this bug aside. Troy, we'll start with you.
Mastery points are really easy to come by, which I think is fantastic. I think they've done a good job for new players coming in, because you can pick up your mounts. The first few jumping puzzles and meta events are fairly simple and sort of new player friendly to introduce folks to the game. There's better tutorials in this expansion than there are in the vanilla game, and it's not even close, to teach you things that the vanilla game never even bothered to teach you, such as combo fields. So the ease in which you can get into the mastery system and letting you have the mount so you can explore a little better, and actually teaching you how to play the game to bring in new players, I think they've gone a step in the right direction there. I don't know, marketing wise, have they brought in those new players? Because from what I've seen, it's mostly returning players.
Jason, is this the time to jump in if you're new or long time lapsed? Like the last time I played Guild Wars 2, where I didn't just, dabble in it for a couple of weeks and then drop it again, but played almost every day, was leading into and initially when the first expansion launched. Like other than that, I've been a dabbler at best. A couple of weeks here and there, doing some stuff in Path of Fire or Heart of Thorns, and just not really objective playing, right? Just do whatever I feel like doing that couple of weeks.
Master of the Silver Wastes.
Yeah, dude, I rule the Silver Wastes.
Master of leveling a necro. That's all you did on your stream for like 3 weeks.
Yeah, I constantly, because I deleted that one way back when. That still makes me mad. But is End of Dragons the expansion to come back in and maybe you get to Path of Fire, Heart of Thorns stuff, or maybe you just jump into End of Dragons and go and worry about that stuff later? And do you still feel good playing End of Dragons if you haven't necessarily been there for all the the live stories and the live seasons and all that stuff along the way leading up to it?
I agree with Troy, and I think they want to make this a tutorial thing where you do just jump in. And in terms of the knowing how to play the game and the rules and so forth, and like the combo fields and dodging and stuff like that, you can learn it from that. But I feel like the story is just going to kind of go whoosh over your head. Like, why is it the End of Dragons? What happened to the other ones? Oh, well, those were covered in the last 10 years of content. Don't worry about that. We'll explain a little bit of it then.
Yeah, that's always the fear with an expansion, like how accessible to new players are expansions, really.
And I also feel like you need to have a lot of the. I mean, you don't need to because they make it like there's one place where there's like a raptor rental to do an event, which if you didn't have the previous expansion, you might need that. But on the other hand, all the other traversal and so forth and gliding and that stuff, you do need the previous expansions to do. So it's like I think there definitely was the intent to make this an expansion for noobs, which for veteran players felt kind of crappy to me at times. I feel like it's just holding my hand forever to try to get me through that. Like I have to do a dodge tutorial? Really? I'm playing this game for 10 years. I don't need a freaking dodge tutorial.
Yeah, that first zone was babysitting real bad.
Yeah, they're really trying to hold your hand with a lot of stuff, and
it's not skippable for you as a long timer.
No, because it's part of the main story. You actually have to do
this
to some of it. So it's like I don't know. It's a little schizophrenic in that it is for they want you to do the cool. I feel like I haven't gotten to the cool stuff yet. It feels like an MMO where you're like, oh, let's get to the get to the first 30 levels, then you get to the cool parts.
It's Jason's
That's sort of what I
thing.
feel like right now.
The game it's totally different. Totally different.
That's contributing a little to my meh factor on it. That they're really just slow playing a lot. So,
Troy, are you enjoying it though?
I am actually. I'm having a good time. What
are you playing?
I'm playing my Revenant. I was playing the new Vindicator, but I've about made up my mind. I don't really like it so much, so I've gone back to the Renegade for now. And I'm having fun again. And I think it's just because I'm so much more familiar with the Renegade that everything just happens without me even thinking about it. And on the new one, I was too busy trying to think. And there's actually 3 aspects I have to switch between instead of the normal 2. So I think that I just wasn't used to it yet. And I was dying a lot and not really doing the things I wanted to do. So I switched to Renegade just so I could enjoy the story playthrough. And I'll learn how to play the new one when we get more into be able to do more of the metas and stuff like that and the world content. That way, every mistake doesn't cost me half of my health bar. It would be a lot easier to learn.
That's why you play in the specialization betas. That's what I did, so I get used to get some idea for what I'd be in for when I got.
I was too busy going back and forth between all of them to get any good at any of them.
What are you playing, Jason?
For right now, I'm still playing my engineer, my Holosmith build, which was the one from the previous expansion. Still working up skill points to get to the Mechanist, which is the new one where I have my own little golem that comes and fights with me.
Yeah, I planned ahead. I actually went back and picked up hero points in like one of those big Zerg groups, and so like the first time, as soon as End of Dragons was available, I was like, boom, I'm a Vindicator.
I thought I had enough, but I guess I didn't. So I need like another 30 or so. So I'm close. I'll get there soon enough.
So obviously this is like super initial week 1 impressions. This is not a full review of any type, but if you were going to rate your experience so far, Jason, on like a 1 to 10, knowing that we'll come back to this because of course we want to get to when you're running the fractals to farm up stuff and how the changes they made to Mystic Coins there, like those types of it, and the changes to legendaries. There are so many changes you just haven't gotten to yet that we'll have to come back and revisit them. But on a 1 to 10 week 1 expansion experience, where are you sitting?
Right now, I'm probably sitting at about a 6.
Really?
Yeah,
I mean, I would have expected a little higher from you. You were looking forward to this expansion
because I want the things that were more in depth to talk
later.
about, and I'm just not getting them yet. Between, like you said, the tutorial, the hand holding part of the first zone and a half, and the fact that it's just not fun to play where there's nobody around. I haven't been playing it as much as I would normally have done. So yeah, I'm still waiting. And there's one part of the story I'm not a big fan of, but that's kind of a spoilerish kind of thing. But
Chat,
yeah,
Windshark in chat saying Lions Arch, you can see a lot more people than
oh
usual.
yeah. I went to Amnoon briefly. That was the hub city of the last expansion. There are plenty of people there, so it's not like. I guess Troy's probably right. It's not like there aren't people online playing the game. They just screwed up the mega servers for Canada.
I tell you what, there are some points in there where the writing for your character make you sound like a total moron. Like just they're just like there's something super obvious that happens, and I'm trying not to spoil story at all here, but there's a couple of super obvious like sort of new information given to you in the main story quest. Where if you're familiar with sort of the backstory and coming into this, you're like, oh yeah, okay, well that makes sense. This is where we're going. But my character's like, herp derp, I don't know what's going on. And I'm like, they all but flat out just told us what's going on here.
1 through 10, Troy, where are you?
7.5. I wish I could play more of the meta events like Jason, but I'm further along than he is. I'm in Ekavald Forest. I'm starting to get out of the hand holding. I thought New Counting City was cool, but like him being there almost by myself, it kind of ruined the city vibe. I was expecting a lot of people really being able to, especially the nighttime meta, and that could be really cool where all the lights go out and stuff. But I haven't seen it done or completed yet. So I want them to fix that so I can play with other people. But I have been sort of concentrating on the main story quest and just going through that. And I've been having, other than the fact that you write my character like a moron sometimes, I've been having a pretty good time. And they've done some good lore stuff, and they've done some stuff that lore-wise makes sense along the way. That even somebody like me who's not a hardcore Guild Wars 1 lore nerd, that I'm just vaguely familiar with some of that. I'm going in, I understand some of what's going on and some of the references being made.
Yeah, I'd imagine there's a lot of nods to Guild Wars
Lord,
1
yes.
fans.
I imagine that's a good point. I should say it's for me. I never played the expansion with Cantha. This is my first time I've ever been in Cantha.
That was what? That was Factions, wasn't it?
Yeah, Factions, like 2006. So.
Yeah, I am going to jump in. Unfortunately, it's still got to wait a little bit. I'm in the middle of another first look, gaining room.
That's for the best, probably. Wait until they fix the mega servers.
Yeah, sounds like it. Sounds like it. I'm actually still continuing to play our next topic, Swords of Legends Online, which the free-to-play version launched yesterday, along with the game's first expansion. So for those of you that have been playing this as a buy-to-play game, there is definitely a lot you're going to want to refresh yourself with, because a lot of systems have been changed and tweaked. The expansion isn't just about new content, new dungeons leading up to new raids, which is generally like the big draw with Swords of Legends Online. There are a lot of system changes as far as like enhancement of gear and things like that. So you are going to want to refresh yourself. Now, I was not a like heavy Swords of Legends Online player. I dabbled in it. We didn't initially do a first look on it because it just happened to launch at the wrong time. Like, we knew we were going to transition to covering all things multiplayer, but we hadn't yet when that launched, so it kind of just got lost in the shuffle there. I am going to do a first look. It'll probably go up next week now that it's gone free to play. The cool thing I will say here, gentlemen, is it a theme park run-of-the-mill MMORPG? Yeah, I mean, that's what it is, and if you like that, cool. If you don't like that, cool. I mean, it's, do your thing. Right. There are a little bit of unique things going on. It's been a long-time running game in China, so it's not like brand new as far as a global release. It's been out for a few years now. It is published by GameForge, but I have a feeling that there's like a weird or a unique contract with the developer where GameForge really doesn't get a lot of say, at least right now, it seems, in the monetization of the game. Because it was a buy-to-play game, and their cash shop was like optional cosmetic stuff like you would expect. And even converting to free-to-play, it's like, no. The cash shop we had in our buy-to-play version, that's the cash shop we have in the free-to-play version, too. So it's not like they jammed a bunch of stuff yet into the cash shop, and from what they've said, they don't have any plans to. I've actually been enjoying it a little bit. The voice acting is atrocious. absolutely atrocious.
Surprise, surprise.
Leave the Chinese on, because not only is the voice acting in English bad, and in most cases just not great voice acting, but you can tell that they were just like, hey, this line of dialogue, Troy, it is 8 seconds long. You got to say this in 8 seconds, because we're not changing animations or anything like that. You got 8 seconds. Took you 12? Screw it. The next person in the cutscene is going to talk over you. And it happens all the time. It happened on stream last Friday when I was just playing it to just do some more research and get a little further. You know, you don't have to be at endgame and shit like that to do a first look video, but I do like to be, you know, at least around the middle of the game. It's one of those games that, you know, there's just too much competition. Like, there's just too much competition that does it better, even though this can be fun. And it is kind of right up my alley, Troy, in that it is heavily dungeon and raid focused. Like, that is the game. Are there other things you can do in PvP and stuff? Yeah, sure. But the game is, like, if you like dungeons, it might be worth checking out, particularly now that it's free to play if you kind of stayed away from it because of the box fee back at its initial launch, I think, last year or something like that. And it performs well. Like, you know, it's all there. The voice acting's terrible. The story is just kind of meh, but there's a lot of MMOs like that. Typical fantasy, you're going to be the hero and all that stuff. But I got to say, there's a little bit of a charm to it for me. In that, hey, man, I like running dungeons, and I'm going to go run this one alone, or I'm going to go run this one with a bunch of people and up the difficulty, and it is all about that. And their release cadence, by the way, for dungeons and particularly raids and the harder versions of those raids has been pretty steady. So there's a lot to like here. I don't really want to give a review on it yet because I'm not even done with the first look for it. And I haven't had a chance to play the expansion content at all, doing the first look for what we're going to talk about next. But it released this week, and I'm going to give it a thumbs up. It's not an MMO that I log into, Jason, and I go, oh my God, I can't wait until I have all the stuff I want for my first look so I can uninstall this. It ain't that. Is it going to be my number one? No. Is it going to be a dabbler? Maybe. Like, I don't know. There's just too much that does this same stuff, but Swords of Legends does it pretty good. And I will say this. If you like that, like, very Eastern influenced, right? Architecture, storyline, mythology, whether it be like Chinese or adapted Japanese mythology, that almost Wuxia vibe or Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon type vibe, it's got it. I mean, it has got it in spades, and there are damn few of those that aren't Age of Wushu out in the wild. So I think there's a lot of good going on in Sword of Legends. Has this been one you've checked out, Troy, or watched at all, or maybe avoided just because it had a box fee initially?
I've pretty much stayed away from it due to the buy to play, and the Eastern import games usually aren't my cup of tea. There have been a couple surprised me lately, like Lost Ark, but usually not my thing. But with free to play, I think I'll jump in and check it out for a couple of hours. I've got my, this is my typical MMO in SWTOR. So if it doesn't do anything any different than that, I don't really see it hanging on to me for any period of time.
Jason, I know you haven't looked at this at all. Just you weren't interested in it, and it had a box fee. It was like you couldn't get further from Jason's list of games he's going to play.
Now you've gotten slightly closer, but it's still like over here. I mean, there's just better things to do with my time than a game that I will play like for, half an hour before deciding I don't want to play anymore. So it'll take me more time to download and install than I'll actually be entertained by it. Probably.
I'll tell you what, man, if you got a crew and you like dungeons and raids,
I'll play 100 other games first.
You could do a lot worse than this one. You could absolutely do a lot.
I could do a lot better too.
No doubt. No doubt. Like, I'll
play Elder Scrolls Online first.
I'm not putting it on true. I'm not putting it on a pedestal or anything. I will put it on I'm very pleasantly surprised now that I've had more time in it to really see it doing its own thing and doing it pretty damn well, voice acting aside. So, last up, as far as releases this week go, we've got Babylon's Fall from Platinum Games. Like, how could this be bad, Troy? They did Bayonetta. They did Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance. They partnered with Square Enix and did Nier Automata, or Automata, depending on how you want to pronounce it.
Automata.
Yeah, I do it too because it's an automaton. That's
Yeah.
how that. Yeah. Anyway, so what we've got here is what Jason would call a grabber stabber, not to be confused with a looter shooter. But very Warframe, Destiny 2 type gameplay, multiplayer, go run these missions in these little dungeons, kill bosses, get loot, rinse and repeat, ad nauseum, over and over, up that power level so that you can go ahead and take on more difficult stuff. Now, the first look video is up on mmobomb.com already, so you can check out this entire video where I do dabble in some opinions along the way. I even start off with how much I really wanted to like this game. I like looter shooters, grabber stabbers that are done well. I enjoyed Godfall for a little bit. This fits in that Godfall bucket, unfortunately. And unfortunately, on top of that, it's a game as a live service, which we've already seen Square Enix stumble big time with Marvel's Avengers. And we know they want to get into more of this and NFTs and blockchains. Troy, I know how you feel now about New World. I know how you feel when you play a game and you're like, there is something oddly here. It's not total garbage. There are neat concepts. I like this. I like that the skeleton is there, but they didn't put the meat on it before they shipped it. I was left with the distinct impression, and I don't know if this is true, and if anybody from Platinum Games wants to talk on or off of the record, go ahead and email me, magicman@mmobomb.com, because I just get the distinct impression that Platinum wanted to do more, and Square Enix forced this out the door. It is PlayStation 4 and 5 console exclusive, also available on PC. It is cross-play. Thank God, because on launch day yesterday, after 3 days of early access, Steam charts reached an all-time high of 650 people on PC.
It made it over 1,000 now. It's actually gotten over 1,000.
Oh,
That's good. That's good.
Wow.
As of last night, when I was replying to some different MMO Bomb comments on the thing, there were 80. So mercifully, it is cross-platform. And I know this is probably going to be a bigger title on PlayStation than PC, but it can't be that much bigger.
I was about to say, is it 100 times bigger? I don't think so.
Right. It's not there's 100,000 console players and 4 dozen PC players.
Yeah.
Like, it's not. It's neat. I like the idea of having 4 weapons, 2 of which are just kind of spectrally floating around you and can basically attack and do whatever the hell you want, even if you just got knocked on your ass. Whatever your position is, those things can attack. You've got light attacks. You've got a light weapon. You've got a heavy weapon. And then inside those weapons, this is the kind of more advanced stuff I didn't go into in the first look. But in those weapons, you have 3 different types of combat that you can kind of meld and enhance those weapons to, whether you're going for light, speed, power, heavy punching, or a more technical, almost rhythm-based combat. I like it. But there is so much missing from the game, just missing. When you queue, it's stand around time. You cannot do anything after you queue. You can't craft, you can't talk to NPCs, you can't change your loadout at all. Like, you're just walking around the hub with nothing to do. There's so many. The art decision you're either going to love or hate. What do you think about that, Jason, by the way? They went for that whole oil painting aesthetic, which the first beta, it got lambasted, and they did make massive changes to it. But there's still people that just aren't going to like that. It's one of those things for me, like a lot in the game, where I feel like, man, this is a great idea, and it's almost there, but not quite. It falls short. It's not quite done.
Like when you showed that bit of the cutscene where they were just kind of like it was like frames. I was like, and that just seems lazy.
Yeah, and I don't mind that, but it is jarring when they have 3 different styles of cutscenes, and to tell the same sequence between 2 quests, they might use 2 or all 3 of them. It's really, I don't like that. Like, stick to one. I don't care which it is, but stick to the one. Troy, did you get a chance to check this out at all? I mean, it's a $60 box fee and then a live service. And don't get me wrong, we have plenty of those, right? You have Call of Duty, Destiny before it went free to play. Like, I'm not knocking it for opting to go with a box fee and microtransactions and a season pass.
I'll knock it.
The season pass is exactly what you'd expect. The cash shop stuff is exactly what you'd expect. Boosters for experience, which you can actually buy with the in-game currency too, so it's not limited to the cash shop. Cosmetics and stuff like that. Like, I'm not knocking them for deciding that's the way they wanted to go. I will knock the implementation because this ain't a $60 game with or without the battle pass and stuff like that yet. And by the way, you have all 3 things going.
No, I'm avoiding this like the plague. A $60 box fee for a game as a service, which I can only assume is going to at some point stonewall me into having to spend money. The only reason I own and have played Godfall is because it came free with a video card that I bought or something way back in the day. So it was either Godfall or I don't even remember what the other game was, but it was something I already owned, and I was like, okay, we'll check out Godfall because it's free. So
yeah,
no, I'll be steering away from this even now, especially now hearing what you had to say about it.
Yeah, it's one. God, I don't know what it is. There is a draw to it that I do like. I
know exactly what it is.
I will still play this.
I know exactly what it is. Mike, you see a pretty game that looks cool in trailers, you're like, I gotta buy that.
I thought it looked terrible in trailers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I thought it looked terrible because they had that initial art style. And I don't think it looks a whole lot better now. Like, no, this is not a flashy, shiny
Your problem, Mike,
object
is you still have hope.
No, I don't, because I even said in the first look, I feel like Platinum wanted to do a lot more before launch, and they still want to do a lot more going forward. But I fear Square Enix isn't going to give them the time. I don't think this has the time. I think free-to-play is in the future very quickly here just to try and salvage this. And I don't even think that that's going to help unless a lot of the stuff Platinum wanted/wants to do is implemented before then. There's all kinds of weird shit. Like, you have a level, by the way. So there's a power level. Destiny 2, right? Buy gear, get gear, and power level goes up. And there's also a character level in Destiny 2 with an experience bar and all that stuff. And the experience bar at max level is just used to dish out, Eververse or Ingrams and stuff for rewards. There's a character level in here. Does it do anything? I can't tell you. I don't know. It doesn't, like, there's no tutorial or anything that tells me that the character level, impacts stats or is just a battle pass, thing. Because there's the battle pass level, the power level, and the character level. I don't know. You gain experience. How much experience do I need to level? Don't know. It's not displayed anywhere. No menus, no bars, nothing. Okay, what are these elemental affinity icons showing me? What are these enhancement icons showing me? Don't know. There's no mouse over in the system. There's no tutorial that goes through that besides when you get to the volcanic cloister, it just says, hey, things from here on out might have elemental affinities and be weaker or stronger against certain elements. You too as the player based on how you gear. Cool. So next to the fire icon, it says 2. Okay. Mouse over, nothing. Like, there's just so much missing right now. But damn it, Troy. It does the New World thing for me. It does there is something here. I do enjoy playing this, but you will spend 10 to 15 hours just in a straight line doing missions for the main scenario before you even open up crafting, which is where your gear really is going to be set as far as end game. And there are multiple mission types, but again, you have to get through like 15 to 20 hours of main campaign stuff before those are even options. So it is very straight line, very formulaic, it does not do itself any favors as far as initial presentation and look at how much you can do here when you can't really do any of that stuff, including crafting and enhancements or the additional side missions, until you've played for 15 hours or so. And the first 15 hours aren't extremely compelling.
as Jason says, just don't have hope. Just let it go now.
Yeah, I
Don't
don't.
make the
I
mistake
don't.
I made, because hope just hurts you. And it continues to hurt you. Even when you've tried to let it go, you still have it, and it still hurts a little bit. Those 2 sentences I read at the top of the show, those still hurt a little bit.
Let us know how you feel about Babylon's Fall. I feel like, God damn it, there's something here. I hope you get more time, but I don't think you're going to.
Oh, wait, I
And-
had a joke I was going to give for this. It's
Oh,
not
yeah,
worth
go ahead.
$60, but it might be worth Babylon 5. Okay. I don't know. All right. Moving
What
on.
game does games as a live service the best for you? Like, who's nailed it? Has found that line between,
Nobody.
pissing you off and, and I guess, I mean, you can count games like Final Fantasy 14. That's technically a game as a service, right? It's
I don't get
MMO for a
that.
sub.
That's like talking about the metaverse and saying that's not actually like what we've been doing in online games forever. It's like it's the same damn thing basically.
Yeah.
An MMORPG is a game as a service.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I agree. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
So who does it the best?
So
is it Guild Wars 2 for you?
I was actually thinking about Guild Wars 2 a couple weeks ago, and I was thinking that it's one of the few games that doesn't now have a subscription or a season pass. So it's like you got to get it done in 2 months, or it's gone forever, or you have to pay extra to get it later, whatever. They used to have that when they were really new. They had that, but they've really gone. They've done pretty well with it, I think, with their cadence of releases, with their non-greediness in terms of both time and money. I think they do a really good job of it.
Troy?
Up until recently, Star Wars The Old Republic's subscription was well worth it if you were going to play it as your main game, not if you were a dabbler. Unfortunately, I don't think anybody has done a great job of it, but maybe Guild Wars 2 is the most forgiving out of the bunch.
Yeah.
The
That allows you to
least-
be a
least
dabbler.
I mean, you
offensive.
always hear
I'm actually
Warframe
really-
and Path of Exile in this discussion too, right?
Path of Exile's got a season pass now, though.
Yeah, and they're getting some feedback on that one now.
Yeah.
But Warframe is one that, to me, there's really no reason to spend in Warframe unless you just really hate timers on building things, and you can't wait to get that hammer until tomorrow. So that's one of the ones that I think generally, in my the way I like monetization, that Warframe just kind of nails it for me. Setting aside, obviously, Final Fantasy 14, sure, I'll pay my sub and that's it. Okay, so time for a rapid fire round, gents. I have you all here, so I want to do another. Are you interested in this? And so the first one I want to give you is an upcoming first-person shooter called Leap. We've kind of mentioned it on the show a few times, but we have a lot of coverage over on MMO Bomb. The first beta event is coming. We don't have an exact date for it, but the team did show or answer a Q&A on some of the more pertinent questions. Is it going to be free to play? Nope. There's going to be a fixed price, still to be determined. Cosmetics and in-game items purchase in early access. All the shop items are purchased in-game using in-game currency, at least through early access. So we'll see if that changes in the future. What kind of game modes will it have? During the beta, it'll have Control and Stomping Ground. There are more modes that will be released as Leap goes into early access. One of them teased over social media being Asset Assassination, and there's even a few more that have not been shared. Yes, there will be full controller support. Is it coming to the PlayStation and Xbox? Yes and yes. Are there competitive modes? As of right now, it doesn't have a competitive mode in the core game, but that doesn't mean that they won't support it in the future. Yes, it will have mod support and no date as far as release. So that's the kind of a high-level overview of your 60-person fast-paced combat. Are you interested, Troy?
At a box price, no, not at all. Not even close. There's too many really good shooters that are free to play that I could play and do the same things for free.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought you'd be all gung ho for this one. Actually, this is kind of surprising.
Nah, there's other shooter games that I'd rather just play for free and dabble in and have fun, because I'm never gonna have a FPS as my first primary game. They're all dabblers for me, so I would rather just dabble in free ones.
Jason, are you in the same boat?
No, I'm still maintaining a little bit of interest. Not if it's a $60 game.
Yeah,
sure.
me
If
too.
it's something more like 20 or 30. But I have to say, this interview really did virtually nothing for me. This is a game that I feel like I have to see. Because we're watching the trailer now.
agree.
It's got cool
Yeah.
visuals, got all the, like I said, talk about all the movement or whatever. They said they're gonna have asset assassination. What is
Right.
that?
What is that? Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
this needs this needs a show don't tell.
Hey man,
more so.
hoverboards. That's all. That's all.
Well, no, you ride the
they-
cybernetic moose. That was this game. That was a cybernetic moose.
that's
you
right.
ride.
They had me at hoverboards. They had me.
Yeah,
at
be at
hoverboards.
cybernetic moose.
Robo says, I think unless the game is very cheap and also very good, it's doomed.
Yeah.
Way too many shooters. Free games in this same space fail all the time.
Like I'm watching this and I'm trying not to pull a mic here and get cooled out by the cool promo.
I think it does. This does look cool. Yeah,
It does
I have
look
been
cool,
interested
but
in
it's
it.
gonna have to do more than look cool to get me interested. So
I can't imagine them putting like a $60 price on this though.
No,
Can you?
I
Like,
can't.
I see it as like a 20 or 30, and we'll get you for some skins. That type of box fee if there's a box fee. Well, we know there is.
Yeah.
How about when an April Fool's Day joke becomes an actual game years later? Conan Chop Chop has officially launched on PC and consoles. It's kind of, a chibi-esque survival game. I'm going to start right off the bat. I have absolutely no interest in this. Like none. I could not be less interested. Oh, it's a survival game? Oh, about Conan? Yeah, no, I don't care.
Is it really a survival game though? I looked at it and thought it was more like it's basically Babylon's
It's like a co-op.
Yeah,
It's like a co-op roguelike thing.
Kill stuff, you get more stuff. That's all it is. It's not a survival game.
I don't.
Heck, this isn't free.
It's a grabber stabber.
It's a grabber stabber. It's $15.
Yeah,
it's $15. I was gonna go ahead and download it now, but I'm not paying $15 for it.
Well, there is a free demo if you want to do it on Switch or PC.
Yeah,
I'm not paying money for that. That should have been a free to play game.
Xbox or PlayStation, no dice. You don't get the demo. You could buy the game. Switch and PC do have a demo.
Unless there's zero cash out. If there's zero cash out, then maybe.
I finally got my interview questions back from Fractured Online, the ones sent before Gamigo even publicly tipped that the game was Fractured Online. I finally got those questions back. That interview is up on mmobomb.com. I just want to ask generally for the two of you. I think I know Jason's, and I have a guess about Troy's, but I think it might have changed based on Gamigo. So we'll start with you, Troy. Any interest in Fractured Online?
Yeah, we've actually talked about this before. I was in their Discord. I followed them on all social media. And then they announced Gamigo, and I left the Discord and unfollowed them on all social media. The game absolutely had my attention. Your publisher, I don't want anything to do with.
Publicly, and they said in the interview that Gamigo is not interfering with any of that.
Mike is the ultimate good
game. They would love
Mike
me to
tries
believe
to find
that.
the good in everything.
Right.
They bought the game
I'm sure
as
they
is.
would love for me to believe that, but I do not.
Jason?
Mike is just like a lawful good all the time. He's a freaking paladin out here. I wasn't interested in it before. I'm probably not interested in it now. I did the article earlier this week too about their alignment system and the worlds they're going to go on.
Yeah.
And the thing that the guy says in the interview is like, well, if you don't want a PvP, you just stay in the good world. I'm like, okay, that's like a third of your game.
Yeah.
The other 2/3 I can't go into if I don't want to get ganked or whatever. So maybe that's not great. That's
what, no matter what
great.
they do, those always just turn into big gank boxes.
Yeah. Oh, don't worry. They have a criminal system. They have a justice system. It'll be fine. There will be player consequences for whatever.
Yeah, that totally broke during their beta, and they've we made we had to make the punishments a little stiffer.
Yeah.
Two dumb things before we head on over to the MMO bombs or the weekly bombs. Yeah, Dungeon Siege getting a little bit of new life if you like that IP. Oh, wait. Square Enix licensed it to the Sandbox metaverse, so it's now going to be part of that Sandbox Go NFT. And yeah, rip Dungeon Siege. God damn it.
I struggled to write this article because I didn't understand what half of it meant.
And then a little, let's roll our eyes at ArcheAge a little bit, and credit to, what is his name? Oh, God, I don't want to get that right. Paradox. Paradox Gaming Network for tweeting us at this, because I totally missed it. I wasn't watching it, and ArcheAge certainly didn't send out a press release on this one.
Imagine why.
They went ahead during the server transfer. There was from over to Cacao Games. They had to get rid of some items because of very proprietary for the NA build, and so they were compensating players with credits if you had those items, the cash shop currency credits. Well, they meant to give out like 80, and they ended up giving out like 3,200 instead. And so at some point, they had to extract those credits from players, but they really just looked at the overall credit balance that people were holding and pulled the number of credits back they needed. They didn't take into account at all how people might have obtained those credits. Like, if Jason bought credits and got these free gifted credits and spent some, they just pulled back exactly what they were supposed to pull back out of his credit balance, even if that meant taking credits he had purchased with cash away from him. So, yeah. Then they had to do another compensation on that and refund credits that may have been bought, but they couldn't do that in full. So for some situations, they had to make a new currency for... I can't make this up. Rosen crystals, and they've awarded people some of those Rosen crystals that have a special shop that you can buy. Just come on. Unreal. Let's go do the weekly bombs.
It makes New World look competent.
No, it doesn't. Nice try, though.
Damn it.
Nice try, though. Time for the weekly bombs. On this one, we are going to go to Mr. Troy Blackburn first. What's up?
Dub bomb to End of Dragons. I'm having a pretty good time. Gave it a early 7.5 right now. I think with a few more improvements and updates, it could be a really good expansion for them. I'm still actually playing through content, which is fun. Dub bomb to Legacy of the Sith, Star Wars: The Old Republic. I do have a video coming, so I don't want to get too far into this, but this is an absolute train wreck of a 10th anniversary expansion. This should be an embarrassment to the company, to the developers, to the publishers, to everybody. This is ridiculous and unacceptable. A video coming in the next few days.
Yeah, so that's going to be up either Saturday or Tuesday. Just depends on timing. And MMO thoughts with your full review of the SWTOR expansion. What do you got, Jason?
I hope it's. I find your lack of content disturbing.
Zing.
There you go. By the way, I just pointed out New World currently has fewer players on Steam than Stardew Valley. So New World costs $500 billion, require like 1,000 people to make.
$500 billion.
Whatever.
I think that number's a little off.
Stardew was made by one guy like 6 years ago, and it's still got more players than New World right now. So I'm just saying. I'm going to give an A-bomb to Square Enix because what the people are they doing nowadays? Not only do you have the NFT crap which we talked about, you've got the I don't know if they just choosing bad partners to make games. So you got Babylon's Fall, you got Outriders, you got Marvel Avengers, you got friggin' Balan Wonderworld if you want to remember that, which nobody does, thankfully. It's like, what are they doing? And then they have a game that actually sells a few million copies, and they're like, oh, that was a failure.
Yeah. Yeah, we talked about them like being the impossible to please parents. Not good enough. Not good enough.
I don't know. They need to figure something out.
I'm going to give an A-bomb to DICE. They actually already have to go back and redo maps for Battlefield 2042. Like, they actually are already having to go and redo maps because you know what? There's too much walking. Players are pissed. And when there is conflict, it's way too chaotic. I just feel like, that should probably have been beta stuff. And, DICE, this ain't their first rodeo when it comes to making Battlefield games. to have to fall into not only the bugs and stuff, but now they're already redoing maps. So, yeah, look for changes to maps come this spring. Sto Janowski in chat says A-bomb to Russia. Tarkoth is saying
hopefully
da-bomb.
not literally.
Yeah. Tarkoth saying da-bomb to Ukraine. it is funny watching like all these company reactions. We're going to do like a little sum up post on Monday, just giving you some of the company reactions to them, like different companies not selling products to Russia and some selling products to Russia and donating the money to Ukraine. So if you're interested to see what all these gaming companies are doing, we'll have a little summation post for you next week. From YouTube and MMOBomb.com, Dark Archon says, I loved Global Agenda and Tribes, but Hi-Rez mishandled them terribly to favor Smite and Paladin, and even then, Paladins is in a rough place. Frankly, I'm very skeptical about this. There were quite a few people commenting when we talked about Global Agenda Free Agent just kind of sneakily becoming available on Steam, unlisted again. Many surprised to see it there. Go ahead, Jason.
Paladin's still in the top 100 on Steam. Just 2 spots behind Star Wars: The Old Republic.
There you go.
But anyway. Box says, Weekly Bomb, giving it A bomb, Destiny 2. Haven't played it since the free-to-play launch, but it seems like with every move of either FOMO crap or removal of content, the game just turns me off. Yeah, I feel ya. If I was a long-time player of the game and they literally locked me out of content I paid for with the full price being equivalent to a new game, I'd be even more upset than I was hearing about the changes now.
Yep.
I honestly don't know how anyone can defend this kind of silliness. Even EA nor Blizzard has gone this far over the spaghetti coating.
I mean, I get it as far as file size goes, but you got to figure it out. Like, I'm in the same boat. It feels really bad when you buy an expansion and, I may
you have
not
less
go
content
to that.
overall.
Yeah, I may not go to that planet anymore much, but I'd like to be able to do it for some reasons. Go ahead, Troy.
Yamikami, hey bomb. Neither did I win. My comments were read by you. Maybe because I wrote them on MMO Bomb and here. I guess 1 times 1 equals -1 after all. I knew it. I was right, and all mathematic nerds in the world were wrong. Also, a bomb to Russia attacking Ukraine.
Hey, I can't always put everybody's comments on every single show. It doesn't work that way. Illuminati, wait, am I seeing this right? You mean the Global Agenda game itself, right? I'm not misunderstanding it. You are not misunderstanding it. And hold on, I put this in the wrong place. Boop, boop, boop. And then so I replied and let them know, and here's the link to it. And Illuminati says, I'm going to fangirl over this. It's been so long. I missed that shit. Love playing engineer and putting turrets around with my healing and energy station. Forgot its name, farming normal mobs in open world. Thank you. Damn, all that nostalgia is coming back to me. Tribes and Global Agenda were the first games I started spending money on. It was worth it. So very happy camper there. Very happy. Well, I mean, I don't know if they camp. Like, doorways and stuff like that. I don't know. Go ahead, Jason.
Rifleman 101 says, Tribes fan reporting in. Give us our freaking map editors and private servers, you bastards. Also, Hi-Rez needs to learn to code because we want our 32v32 matches. Also, what the hell they did to the lore.
Yeah, that was a question that I asked last week, was like, if you're a Tribes fan, what do you think of the Global Agenda just showing up all of a sudden on Steam? Yeah. Weren't happy. Question of the week last week, what is your main game this month? So many releases with Elden Ring and End of Dragons and Babylon's Fall. What is your main game this month? Now, Driznit chimes in here. Driznit was our winner for our Guild Wars prize, and Driznit did send us pictures of their prize. It has arrived. So we gave them the code as soon as they replied. Nice. And ArenaNet shipped this little package out. Driznit, I just want to thank you for the feet pics.
I was about to say, nice socks.
Yeah, nice socks, brother. Nice socks. Enjoy it. Use it in good health. Have a lot of fun. Driznit says, question of the week, I've been enjoying Mortal Online 2 once they corrected their queue issues. The depth of the crafting and skill system is interesting to figure out. This week, End of Dragons has taken over as the primary game, but I still find myself logging into MO2 to craft and farm some materials. The thing that makes me concerned with MO2 is that they compress the servers with the community/PK groups again, take over the game, and make it return to the MO1 game of ganking. Troy, somebody likes something you don't, so therefore...
How dare they?
How dare they? Go ahead, Troy.
And the Saga question of the week, it was probably always going to be Guild Wars 2 End of Dragons, but I was considering just finishing the story and then playing Elden Ring and Atelier Sophie 2 for most of the month. Then I played End of Dragons story intro, then saw the maps, and yeah, everything other than End of Dragons can wait. It is a massive step up from both previous expansions.
The Saga pretty happy. Go ahead, Jason.
Yeah, I don't think we talked about that much. It is gorgeous.
Yeah.
We've talked about the
Yes.
gameplay and all the story and stuff, but it is just gorgeous to go through. They really knocked themselves out with the art team. RS Jab versus Question of the Week. Guild Wars 2. Got to rush Path of Fire campaign to get into End of Dragons with my Mechanist. Like you had 4 years to finish Path of Fire. If you're done now, it's your own damn fault.
Ninja Panda's Question of the Week. So to make up for missing the podcast on Friday, so I'll make it up by leaving this comment of Jason's Question of the Week, and we'll be watching Ready Check Radio podcast today, Saturday, to make up for it. Now, as for the game I played the most this month, it would have to be, surprise, surprise, PSO2 New Genesis. As for why the game, not long brought out the new Dark Falls Urgent Quest, which drops the new 5-star weapons and 5-star armors, which require a lot of materials and stuff to level them up, as well as new fashion items. I probably got the game open while you're reading this. Well, you're in chat, so you can let us know. Go ahead, Troy, finish it up.
Box Question of the Week. I've been addicted to Elden Ring since it released. Even had the day off, so I've already put in like 30 hours over 3 days. I've had to restart a few times due to crash, to desktops corrupting my save, and then a cheater joining my game and screwing up my stats. But the game is just so darn fun, I don't even mind starting over.
Lots of Elden Ring, lots of Guild Wars 2. Lots
And
of
Ninja
Guild
Pandas
Wars 2.
confirms.
And Ninja Pandas does confirm that they have it open. Question of the week this week. Do you like games as a live service? Quote, 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 quote. Why or why not? And what game does it the best or the worst? Whichever you want to talk to us about, throw it in the comments below. While you're there, don't forget to give us your weekly bombs. D-bomb for something good, A-bomb for something bad in the world of gaming or just life in general. We, of course, will be back next Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern. Until then, Troy, where can everybody find you?
Hey, check me out Wednesdays right here at twitch.tv MMO Bomb for my weekly stream.
Jason.
Find me on Twitter at Winter Informal, streaming at twitch.tv/JasonWinter.
I'm Mike Byrne. You can find me right there at magicman1, but more importantly, follow at MMO Bomb so we can tweet at you every time we go live with a stream, podcast, or we post giveaways, interviews, news, first look videos, and so much more. Until next week, stay safe, and we'll see you on the server.